I'd like to greet all human beings all around the world with the universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. It doesn't matter what your political, philosophical, personal, nor your religious beliefs may be. It doesn't matter whether you're the richest to the poorest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter whether you're the proclaimed toughest to the proclaimed weakest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter if you're my family, friends, nor my proclaimed enemies. It doesn't matter if you're black or white or whatever your nationality or occupation in the world may be. It doesn't matter if you like my YouTube channels or like me or not. It doesn't matter whether you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I don't make YouTubes or get on social internet for a thumbs up or thumbs down. I just try to make people aware of things that they may not be aware of. Sometimes we have to set aside our political views. You see what I'm saying? Because sometimes if we're a Republican, when we're Republican do something wrong, we tend to side with them anyway. The same with Democrats. When a Democrat do something wrong, we seem to side with them. But today happened to be August the 6th, 2021. It's about 8:14 p.m. and it's Friday night. What I want to talk to you all about now is real important. Yesterday I talked to you all about me going down to Murfreesboro, Illinois to pick up these documents, which yesterday they was ready to be picked up by anybody that wanted to pick them up. They was ready ever since June the 23rd of 2021. Yesterday would have been 41 days ago, but today is 42 days ago. I went down there to Murfreesboro, Illinois to pick up, go to the pathologist, or to the coroner's office, but it happened to be the coroner happens to be the Dr. Kufner, William Thomas Kufner, or Keffinger. It's him and his wife Valerie's family clinic. But that's the coroner's office too, where I picked this paperwork up, the autopsy and the coroner's report, the pathologist autopsy reports and the coroner's report. And the lady that gave it to me, she was real nice, like I said before. And I told y'all before that the chief of police on July the 13th, 2021, in Carbondale, Illinois, at their city councilman meeting, and he addressed them after I got up and spoke and told them how I thought that they was doing an unprofessional, incompetent, and unjust death investigation with my son, concerning my son Bryan, Lamar Johns. He got up after I spoke and told them that he's working hand in hand with the Illinois State Police and that he was waiting for them to complete their investigation. He was waiting for the coroner's, Jackson County, Illinois coroner's office to complete their paperwork, and the pathologist from out of Vienna, Illinois, she's an independent pathologist, which they said, I guess they didn't suppose to know, but her practice in Vandalia, Illinois, is called Top Soil Forensic Pathology Service Incorporation. Anyway, he told him that he was still waiting on these reports. But that's something to show that he has a potential to not tell the truth. Because the lady that gave me these papers yesterday, she said, which was August the 5th, 2021, which had been, she said they'd been ready for 41 days. If I can drive, I drove from my house to the pathologist or to the coroner's office in Murfreesboro, Illinois, is 71.2 miles. which made me round trip travel 142.4 miles to go get this paperwork. You see, Carbondale, Illinois, they get paid to do this. I don't. It costs me money to travel. But anyway, when I got this paperwork and I got back home, at first I didn't want to look at it. Another thing that I did, I stopped in Murphyboro, since I was there already, Murphyboro, Illinois. I stopped at the newly elected prosecuting attorney's office. Then after that, I went to Carbondale and filled out this Freedom of Information Act to be able to retrieve all the reports and records that they have concerning my son's allegedly death investigation. So I killed 3 birds with 1 stone. But when I picked up these papers, it wasn't no more than a good mile. I went to the new prosecuting attorney's office. I sat down and talked to him for about 45 minutes. Just really wanted to introduce myself. And I know from the conversation that he knew who I was as far as who my son, Bryan Lamar Johns, was and the circumstances around his death. But I got to telling him how I wasn't satisfied with what the Carbondale Police Department is doing. I told him a few other things to see whether or not the white female and the black male, the husband and wife who had my son's food stamp card, I wanted to see had it been to his office, because the card is a state issue card, which should make it a state case, and the finance that they were spending off the card is the United States government issue, so that should be a federal case too. The city attorney told me that he didn't see no charges. The prosecuting attorney, the state's attorney, Jackson County State's attorney, said that it hadn't came across his office yet. And it's been over almost going on 3 months. The last time that they spent on my son's card was 39 days after his death, which was April the 29th, 2021. But I got to telling him some of the other things concerning how my son's T-shirts was in one area, his wallet was in another area, and then he told me that these police is some good guys. He know them. He talks to the chief every week, and he said, I think they're doing a good job. And after we got through talking, I was trying to show him some things that the Carbondale police wasn't doing, like not getting this report here. And it's ready already. The same thing I told him about how the chief of police on April the 14th, 2021, in the lobby of the Carbondale Illinois Police Department, in their little lobby, how the chief of police told me to my face, and my 2 daughters heard it, and said that my son, Bryan Lamont Johns, he didn't say the whole name, but he said, Raymond, your son, Bryan, had a lot of demons in it. He since then denied that when he was confronted about it. So, I know they got cameras in that hallway, because when I went yesterday, I noticed that they let you know that the cameras is there. And I'm sure that they have, because they got buttons you can push and listen to stuff. I'm sure that they have audio where you can hear that, but I'm sure that they'll get rid of that. But anyway, he also, he said in the city council meeting, July the 13th, he said he was waiting on these to be completed. You all can see I got the paperwork right here. Y'all seen me in the office yesterday in Murphyboro picking them up. So this can't be too important to them. I'm wondering if the state police done with theirs, or if the state police got it or not. But I want to see on the 10th of this month, August the 10th, which is next week Tuesday, when I take this paperwork down there, I know they watch my video, so I want to give them a heads up. I'm one that used to say, don't interrupt your enemies when they're making a mistake. But I want them to know I'm going to bring these down and ask them, why don't they have these here? Why did they tell the people they was waiting on them to be completed? You see what I'm saying? It ain't their job. It ain't the pathologist's job. You see what I'm saying? To contact them. They supposed to be trying to check with them to see. Just like they supposed to be out there trying to investigate. Talk to people that would say something that's contradicting or contrast to what they're saying, that my son was suicidal. But when me and the prosecuting attorney was walking out, he kept telling me that even though me and him was talking about this, that there's nothing he can do until he can get the paperwork from the pathologist, the paperwork from the coroner's office, the Illinois State Police, and the chief of police now. And I told him to get the stuff from the chief of police and them. I said, if they just looking at one thing, suicide, you see what I'm saying? Then what sense of even looking at anything? He said, well, I don't think that they'll do anything wrong. I said, there's a lot of police out there that's doing something wrong. But as we was walking out, these is the words that he told me, I believe verbatim. He said that everything that you just told me, which we talked, I think, about 20, 30, maybe 40 minutes, everything that you just told me in there, you would have been better off telling it to a clerk in Walmart. Because I don't have nothing in front of me right now. Everything that I just told him, I could have told it to a clerk in Walmart. That reminds me of the chief saying, my son got demons in him. But I'm getting used to, accustomed to this. You know, I'm assuming that he was saying, you know, in so many words, you wasted my time. I didn't think I wasted my time because I wanted to be able to see him. I want to be able to meet all these people that claiming what they going to try to do as far as get my son some justice. But let me show you something else. Now, when I got this, I was reading it. You know, I wasn't going to read it at first because it's, you know, it kind of hurt. But then I asked God to give me the strength to read through it. Now, you know how you have things numbered like 1 of 7, 2 of 7, 3 of 7, 4 of 7, 5 of 7, 6 of 7, and 7 of 7. I want to show you something now. Now these two here, these two first pieces of paper is just a preliminary like report or almost like a index of telling you what's going to be on this other paper here. But now, after those two papers, I'm going to let you see, they don't have any numbers on them. No, I don't want you to get that close. They don't have any numbers up here like these do. You see what I'm saying? Like them is, they marked 3 of 7, 4 of 7, 5 of 7, 6 of 7, and then 7 of 7. That's the end of the pathologist paperwork, with the exception of this here, but this is not one of the numbers of them. But these here go into details, telling if he had fractures and things like that. I'm not going to even go into details, but y'all can get a copy yourself and y'all can see, you know, they said no defensive wounds or nothing like that, but when you read this here, you tell me what you think. You see what I'm saying? Especially from a hanging. You know what I mean? When you see certain blunt trauma in certain areas, but I'm not going to even speak of it. You see what I'm saying? But when I got to reading it, I called the coroner's office again today. The lady, she's real nice. I said, it seemed like something is missing. And guess what's missing in here? The toxicology test is missing. She said, oh no, they in there, because she don't read it. She had mentioned, she admitted she don't read these things because she's just like a clerk, and she's not a doctor, and she don't like it, and that's understandable. She don't like looking at this stuff. Somebody done committed suicide or death appear. And I understand that. But she got what they gave her to give to me. They omitted 2 and 3. I mean 1 and 2. 1 of 7 and 2 of 7. When I called her, you know what she did? She told me, she said, I'll call you back after lunch. And she did. She was a lady of her word each trip. She said, Mr. Ivy, I found them and I put them in the mail to you. In other words, she didn't want me to have to drive back 142.4 miles to come back to get the 2 pieces of paper. You see, the toxicology test gonna have in there how much drugs he had in his system. They didn't want me to see that, and I know already, because one of the detectives told me. But see, to not have this paperwork, he showed a lot of stuff that's going on with this. And let me show you the ties with this. The topsoil forensic pathology service in court is by this one female that lives in Bryan, Illinois. If anybody familiar with Bryan, Illinois, and you know, with all due respect, it ain't too many blacks in that area. You see what I'm saying? If any. You know, and I'm not saying this to be racist to anybody. If you don't like what I'm saying, just don't listen to it. You see, I'm finna show you something about a good old boy system. The lady that's the pathologist, she had already told me back in March that she has her own private practice. Y'all take a guess where she graduated from in 1997. If you don't know, SIU in Carbondale. You see, you know they trying to cover up suicides in Carbondale already. Who better to get is somebody that's a graduate from southeast, southeast, not southeast, but Southern Illinois University. Now, she's supposed to be independent. She ain't too independent because she's still from that good old boy system. The prosecuting attorney let me know he talks to the chief every day. He think they're doing a great job. And I told him, it's a lot of people in Carbondale don't agree with you. I said, I guess they did a real good job with Molly Young. But he said that he opening Molly Young's case back up. I said, I guess they did a good job with Praveen and some other people that they said either killed themselves or they caused their own death. But you remember I told y'all that from the beginning, when me and my son's mother met with this commanding lieutenant investigator in the deputy coroner, Sam Bryan, they had already told us what it was going to be. We met with him on March the 24th, 2021, y'all. 5 days after my son's death. No, remember I said no toxicology tests back, no autopsy done, and he suggested that we burn him. Now, in his coroner report, they watches my YouTube. He tried to counter what I said when he said he was good. He asked my daughter, told my son's mother not to let me speak up, and pulled her to the side and talk about getting the body cremated. You see what I'm saying? Talking about getting it cremated so we wouldn't have to take it back to Chicago. But I want to say this here before I forget. Now you remember, he told us on the 24th of March, 5 days after my son was found lynched. He said it's going to either be suicide contributed by drugs, if he didn't have no drugs in his system, suicide by mental health. Now let me show you something. He had already determined that the moment he came on the scene of my son's body, and I'm gonna show you, he can't take that back. You know how the chief lied, said he didn't say my son had demons. You know how he lied and said that he was waiting on this paperwork. But see, one thing about Ivies, we're not dumb. I may not be a doctor, a pathologist, a coroner, you see what I'm saying, a chief of police or a prosecuting attorney, but I know when somebody done declared something suicide when they hadn't took any tests. And this piece of paper is gonna tell you. Let me show you what he said. This is the deputy coroner. I got to get up kind of closer. This is in his report. Sam Bryan. Let me see if we can see his name. See if you can get up on that name. Can y'all see that name, Sam Bryan?
You can see it.
And look right here. He say, I, Sam Bryan, of the Jackson County Coroner's, let me get it right. The Jackson County Coroner's Office was requested to respond to 400 North Oakland Street, Carbondale, Illinois. Look at this. This gonna show you they determined that my son committed suicide. The Sergeant Guy Draper was there, and the Jackson County ambulance service was there, which ain't none of them doctors. Ain't no test has been took. This is on the day one, and they say he found his body. Look what he said. He said, upon arrival, I was informed by the JCAS, which is Jackson County Ambulance Service, and CPD, that's the Carbondale Police Department, that a person had hung themselves at the, let me see, where is that? At the stated address. Now I want you to follow Sergeant Draper. Now look what Sergeant Draper said. Let me see if this is what he said. Let me see. I want to make sure. I want to show y'all what type of drug. Let me see. Person hanging himself. Now this is what Sergeant Draper told him. That he knew the individual that was up there, and they had multiple contacts with my son. And he said that he uses narcotics. This is what the coroner's thing said. Sergeant Draper said he had multiple contacts with my son, and my son using narcotics. Now, how could the ambulance people, the paramedics, unless they God, and the Sergeant Draper that's everywhere that my son is at, just about, dead or alive, how could they tell the coroner, the deputy coroner, neither one of them doctors? The deputy coroner ain't no doctor. We know he incompetent. But listen here. How could they tell the paramedics and the beat sergeant, Sergeant Guy Draper, tell the deputy coroner that we got a black male up here that committed suicide? Let me make sure that's what it said. Let me make sure that's what it said. Where we at? Where was it? Oh, it was on the other one, wasn't it? Y'all bear with me for 1 minute, will you? Oh, yeah, a person hung themselves. Same thing. He said a person hung himself. If you say he hung himself and he up there dead, they saying he committed suicide. He hung himself. They wasn't there. And the only way that they could say he hung himself if they was there. I'm trying to show y'all how it's a group thing. SIU students that ain't crooked, I ain't got nothing against y'all. White folks down there that ain't crooked or racist, I ain't got nothing against y'all. Black folks down there that ain't crooked and going with this good old boy system. I don't have no beef with y'all. But I'm just showing y'all, how could they determine on day one that he committed suicide? No, it didn't take a pathologist test. And you know what? Something else is missing out of here. I'm wondering if it's in the toxicology test, because he told me personally, Sam Bryan, the deputy coroner for the Jackson County, Illinois coroner's office, he told me he took my son's temperature and it was 76 degrees. I ain't seen that in none of these papers yet. The pathologist ain't even told me. But see, remember they said that he used narcotics, and guess what they found in his shoe? They didn't find it. If Sam Bryan is a competent deputy coroner, when my son's body was sitting in that funeral home, he should have been able to assess my son's whole body from head to toe. He might have not wanted to touch a black man. He might have didn't want to take the black man clothes off of him. His shirts was already off, but you supposed to took his underwear, his pants, and his socks off. If you would have did that, deputy coroner, before the autopsy was made, just like you pried his hand open and took the money out of his hand, you supposed to took that down. You would have found the drugs in his socks. I ain't seen yet nothing what the outcome of them drugs was. The pathologist described that they was in some aluminum foil and then some little clear bags. But she didn't say what it was, because she completed her part. You see what I'm saying? But I seen blunt trauma on here. Up in here. I seen blunt trauma. But Jay said no defensive wounds. You see, your pathologist from SIU ain't the only pathologist in this world. Praveen's family told y'all that from up in Chicago. That's where I'm from. I'm from Cabrini Green. I know how you operate in Southern Illinois. The same way y'all operate, same way they operate down here in Southeast Missouri, the Boot Hill. You see what I'm saying? A black man hung to y'all showing me ain't no leaders. Let me show you about your NAACP president. She's on the school board down there, y'all. And that school teacher, that white school teacher that I told y'all from the Carbondale High School, I did a little bit more research. She works for the Rebound High School. Not the actual Carbondale High School. She worked for the Rebound. It's a different one. The Rebound Carbondale High School. And guess what that address of that Rebound High School at where she work at? All you gotta do is just Google up, you'll see her. And guess who else name you are seeing something congratulating this particular white female that was spending my son's food stamps when he was alive and when he was dead. It's on Sycamore Street, y'all. In the 200 block of Sycamore, where that school is at, where she work at. My son's clothes was found in the 400 block of Sycamore on the 3rd floor. His body was found on Oakland Street in the 400 block, right around the corner from Sycamore, right down the street from the school where she work at, on the 3rd floor on Oakland Street. Down in the 900 block of Sycamore, same street that this school teacher work on, they found his wallet. And you know what's strange? I told the NAACP president, I told her the female's name and her husband's name, and she can't say she don't know them, because I seen when they was making a vote for this white female in 2017 and 2018 for that at the Rebound High School, they was taking a vote, and the NAACP president, the female from Chicago, went to SIU, you know what I mean? Went to SIU, the same with that school teacher, went to SIU. They don't want to make them look bad, but Raymond Lewis Ivy, I'm going to make y'all look bad. I don't care if SIU gets shut down. If SIU don't give a damn about my son death, do you think I give a damn about them? And this don't go to all of y'all. But it's too many connections with SIU. But this lady know that this school teacher. Maybe she's scared because she black and they white. I ain't scared of nobody. I don't care what color your skin is. You can have an AK-47 on me and tell me to get in the car, you're going to kill me. You know what I'm going to tell you? To kill me. You better talk to somebody about me. You see what I'm saying? Y'all hung the wrong person. And it took more than one person to do it. Now let me tell you a coincidence now. They ain't doing nothing with the school teacher. I asked the prosecuting, the Jackson County prosecuting attorney. He ain't even heard about it. So he say it ain't on his office. I talked to the city attorney. He ain't heard about it. It ain't in his office. But I notified the federal government. I notified the FBI. I let y'all know that. And I'm going to keep on. I'm going to keep on until you pick these people off the street. Why would the detective ask this same white woman who worked for the Rebound Carbondale High School, why would they go to her job and ask her, do you think your husband killed Bryan, my son, over meth? You see, the only way you're going to ask him that, he must have been convicted of murder and drugs before. You see what I'm saying? So conveniently, on the day they claimed my son died, on the 19th, her husband claimed he was in St. Louis getting surgery on his arm. You see what I'm saying? So we got to determine, did my son die on the 19th? To give her husband an excuse, being in St. Louis, what was he at on the 18th? Get his phone and see. Get her phone and see. Get my son's wife phone and see. Because she said 3 days, his ex-wife said, my son's ex-wife said 3 days before he was found dead, he called her 3 o'clock in the morning off of the Samaritan Homes phone and said somebody just took something from him, and he wanted her to come get him to take him down there on Sycamore because somebody took something from him. Ain't that coincident? He telling my daughter, I'm glad you watching, Jennifer, because 3 of them untried me. But then he got a little blunt trauma, but they said ain't no defensive wounds. What you thought was that I was some Negro that kissed y'all behind like that NAACP and the rest of them cowards that said that they represent the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. What colored people do you represent? My son was colored. You see that they doing him unjust. You know a white woman and her husband had his food stamps. Another white woman had his wallet. Another white woman claimed that she found his clothes. If he took them clothes off like that and laid them there just as nice, something ain't right. The state's attorney tell me, I guess he'll deny that. You've been better off telling me what you told me. You could have told it to a clerk in Walmart. In other words, it was meaningless. But it wasn't meaningless. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm somebody. I know y'all plotting with this racist and unjust law enforcement here in Charleston, Missouri Police Department. But I ain't scared of none of y'all. Hey, listen, that's people watching y'all that can come and arrest y'all. You know what I mean? They watching y'all. If something happened to me, that'll put icing on the cake. You see what I'm saying? Y'all voting these people in. Think about the next time you vote them in. Don't look at Democrat or Republican. Don't look at because they black, white, or Spanish. Look and see what they gonna do for the people. See, a real prosecuting attorney, they don't boast on all these murder cases and all these other cases that I'm finna put these people away. You, a prosecuting attorney, number one job is to make sure justice is done. But you see, y'all ain't trying to make sure justice is done. All of y'all buddies, everybody, all the chief of police, he's cool. I know all of these officers, the state's attorney said, they went all the way to Missouri to get a case for me. Yeah, y'all looking out for each other. You see what I'm saying? You're looking out for each other. But I'm going to tell you one thing. God is steady revealing, man. How did you determine on day one, you ain't been there 2 minutes, and you determined that my son hung himself because paramedics, so you say. Y'all say a lot of things in your life. You tried the same guy, the same coroner, Bryan, the deputy coroner. He got in this paperwork here now, his paperwork. What do this have to do with my son's death? He trying to clean up because he watches my YouTube. When I made the very first one, he asked me what's my YouTube channel. And I told him, and they watch it. That's how they do all of their stuff. He got in his paperwork to show he was watching them YouTubes real good. He said, I told Mr. Ivy, I heard him and his son's mother talking about they wondering if they're going to have money to get his body back up there to be cremated. And I told them that you can get it done down here cheap. No, you didn't tell him that. You pulled up to the side. Then he said, I just went and asked Mr. Ivy's son's mother, can you give us the permission to talk to Raymond because he ain't on the birth certificate? Let me show you how much that's a lie. They didn't even ask for the birth certificate. I showed it to them after we showed my IDs. I said, my name ain't on there. I didn't even have to do that. But we sat in there, talked, and they seen my son's mother couldn't stomach it, and I seen what they was saying. It was nonsense. But they wanted to talk to her instead of me. And she said, you talk to his daddy. See, they think they think they can get black women to get against the black men because they ain't together no more. But she told you to talk to me. I'm a man. I'm more man than you. I'm more man than your boss. I'm more man than the chief of police. I'm more man than the state's attorney. I'm more man than any one of y'all that's working in Carbondale Police Department that's trying to cover this up. I'm more man than any of y'all. Only thing y'all got, you got a little power right now. Trump had a lot of power. Look what's happening now. God give y'all them positions for a reason. To see what you gonna do. Look at Trump now, him and his family. Me and my family living better than them. He got lawsuits on top of lawsuits. One thing about you individuals is trying to cover my son's death up. You see, when y'all get to the point where you're down to your last dollar, that's what y'all do. Screen yourself up. I ain't just saying white folks. I'm just saying you individuals that's cowards that running these organizations like NAACP, y'all make Thurgood Marshall turn over in his grave. But I'm telling y'all, get all these paperwork, y'all. They ready. Murfreesboro, Illinois. I'm gonna leave right now, y'all, because you know it's tearing me up just to see all these high-powered individuals. Everybody telling me the prosecuting attorney, the city attorney, oh, these is good police. Yeah, they good to you. They good to you. A beat sergeant, you supposed to be a coroner, and you let a beat sergeant and some EMTs or paramedic tell you that we got a person that hung himself. How you gonna make that conclusion and you didn't see it and nobody else didn't tell you that? Let me tell you how y'all did it. The same way y'all been coming. I know y'all burnt a whole bunch of black bodies down there. I was told about it. See, I got an underground railroad, you see what I'm saying, that's working in Carbondale in all 50 states and even out of this country because they watching y'all. You talking about my son got demons in him, Chief? Let me show you what God gonna do. He gonna bring it out of all of y'all. He gonna bring it out of all of y'all. I want you to remember this, black man. I know you probably, when you get home, you call me the N-word. But one thing about when you call me the N-word is not a black person. It's an ignorant person. And what y'all doing is incompetent, unprofessional, and cowardness. And if I was you, NAACP president on down, if I was all of y'all, I would burn my cars and join the Ku Klux Klan because that's what y'all are. Triple K. Peace be still.